Another song I really loved was the Hate You Give, man. Like, that was so good.
Yeah. That was an important record for me.
So what was the foundations of that title, and what was the foundations of what you wanted to achieve in that song?
Over the last 2 years, we've lost hundreds of young rappers.
Yeah.
By murder.
Yeah.
By incarceration.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what you feel or how you feel about their music and their message, these are young black men speaking their truth. The last time we saw young black men speaking their truth in the way that we have it today was in the 60s. And the same thing was happening, right? They were getting shot and killed or going to jail.
Yeah.
Right? So it's so interesting because the fates are the same. Even though the messaging is different and the approach is different. So when you see artists like a PNB Rock or a Pop Smoke or a King Von or any other rapper who's on Thizzler or on Empire, when we're saying rest in peace every other day for a promising rapper, we have to stop and look at what's going on. I posted the other day, like D1 was speaking to this in the same way that Mos Def was trying to speak to this, right? There is a crisis of consciousness within hip hop culture, and we need to address it. And I wanted to address it in this particular record because what we're seeing in this hyper misogynist, hyper violent archetype that is perpetuated by the music industry, not the culture, but the music industry, is feeding into this white supremacist idea of black authenticity that is being used and perpetuated as a means of social engineering to continue to put us in jail and to continue to kill us. Yeah. It's still being used and killing each other. It's not them doing it, right? Give them guns, step back, watch them kill each other. Yeah. Right? So the hate you give, literally, little infants, fucked everyone. Yeah. Pac put it on his chest. It's the truth. The hate we're seeing in the world is why we are dealing with the crises that we are dealing with, right? So part of that song is not only the intro of Pac at a black conscious rally or black liberation meeting or something. Yeah. It was that speech. But then I start, don't ever call me a rapper because rappers be getting killed, right? It's just like, we need to remind ourselves that part of hip hop comes from the black consciousness movement and black freedom movement. Yeah. And we can't lose that.
There's a call for justice that
always there.
Should be somewhere, even if it's not front and center. It needs to be somewhere.
It needs to be part of our conscience. If we don't have a conscience, we're just out here fucking around, bullshitting. You know what I'm saying?
As you mentioned it, that's part of what messed up what we knew as gangster rap. It's like it wasn't just NWA, it was fuck the police. Right? You see what I'm saying?
That's the more standout line.
You see what I'm saying? It's like you don't even have so many political rap records come from that record, which is technically a West Coast gangster track. Right. You see what I'm saying?
You know what I'm
saying?
There
was always a level of rebellion in what the Ghetto Boys did. My City's Under Siege, specifically, My City's Under Siege talks about the real Rick Ross, talks about Freeway Rick. When it wasn't in the news. You understand what I'm talking about?
This is just street shit.
Yeah, and so it's like Deep to See, Above the Law. Same thing. I think Dr. Dre's finest moment in terms of production in the era of sampling. I think that was his finest moment production-wise. But even that album cover dealt with Freeway Rick and other stuff like that. And so once those elements started waning out of gangster rap itself became less relevant to me. Because I was looking for the ashes of the rebel in the rubble. You understand what I'm saying? I was looking for that and I wasn't seeing it. So that's when I was like, you know what I mean?
We're just left with our anger.
Right? We have these like pendulum swings where it's like the gangster dudes kind of stop talking about anything that deals with anything social. And then you have the political dudes who now can't rock a party. Because they're talking about freedom.
They're so far to the left.
It's like, yo, man,
what's going on?
This hook is trash. Even if you made the first 60 bars was dope. And don't say just because you're talking about black freedom that the beats can be whack.
Right, it still needs to be produced like a record. So here I am, like in this particular record, I'm again crafting an experience. I'm bringing in a sound clip that's evocative of a certain theme, mood, time, right? I started, don't ever call me a rapper because rappers be getting killed. Rapper now is synonymous to the word nigga.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think that saying the word rapper, or when the media writes rapper killed, they might as well be saying nigga killed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's how they
because
intend it.
You're not adding anything nuanced to who this man was, who this young man was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What he could have done.
Right.
You know, we mourn the loss of Triple X Tentacion because he was killed in a robbery. And before that, we just talk about how, you know, insulting he is or brash he is. It's like, what happens if he had 20 more years? You know what I'm saying? If Malcolm Little dies as Malcolm Little, we don't get what
we don't even get to see El-Haj Malik ever be anything.
Exactly. We need an opportunity, and we need as a culture to create a space for these black men to grow, heal, and
go be.
Continue the journey.
Yeah.
And we're inspired by all the rappers who were able to do that.
Yeah.
When you look at a Jay-Z, when you look at a J. Cole, when you look at a Kendrick, you're not only seeing rappers or artists who have been successful. You're seeing men who had the opportunity to heal and grow. And look at what they create when they heal and grow. They create this powerful introspection in their music. Yeah. This mirror that's not only being held up to America, it's being held up to our own culture and what we do. Yeah. And what we do is, it's too woke for me.
Yeah.
Let's turn up. Let's do some bullshit. So in The Hate You Give as a record, I wanted to speak to that. I wanted to speak to the racism and white supremacy baked in the music industry. The fact that we're killing ourselves. The fact that we have self-destructive behaviors and toxic behavior patterns that we adopt as normal. You know what I'm saying? Like there needs to be an understanding and a conversation at least as to how to move away from this rhetoric. Right? That's being financially incentivized. Period. The only reason we're talking about it is because people are getting the bag doing it. Yeah. If we was getting the bag talking about black liberation, everybody would be a hotep tomorrow. Come on, man. For real. You know what I'm saying? But we're not. We're not incentivized by ourselves, and we're not incentivized by the record labels who are putting us in prison. Yeah. These record labels
algorithms are pushing out a lot of the truth. It's just like,
it's just madness. So I wanted to speak to like the madness that has become our hip hop culture, that has become our music industry, and how at least just kind of like touch on it, but then also pair it with like my life and the struggles that I dealt with and the things that like that were taken from me in terms of innocence, in terms of like having to fit in, and the struggles that I have to deal with that are real shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When you're arguing about seeing your kids with your baby mom, that's real shit. That's not gangster. That's just real shit that people can relate to.
I can relate.
When I'm teaching kids who are wearing probation house arrest bracelet, when I'm teaching them, like that's not lost on me. I'm teaching them songwriting, but they can't even leave their fucking house. Yeah. It's deep. What I mean? It gets really deep. So I just wanted to speak to that, like this crisis that we're having in the culture, how we need to move forward.
Don't ever call me a rapper, cause rappers be getting killed. Buried in their Marys, but nothing's left in they will. And yeah, you see them shine, but their jewelry isn't real. The label is steal your money, then give you liquor and pills. When the feds kick in the door and secret indictments are sealed, and you facing 20 years, are you proud that you didn't squill? They tell me to chill. You could be anything you wanna be. I had a dream and God came to me in the form of me. In the land of capitalism and mass shootings. As a kid.